لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And thank you for coming today, inshallah, for the third day of Ramadan. Fourth day, right? Fourth day. It is like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, right? Allah. Only 26 days left. So get the good news. Alhamdulillah. I hope and pray that everybody is doing well, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Dear brothers and sisters, we covered chapter 4 up to the end of Surah Al-Baqarah actually, and tonight inshallah we'll start with Surah Al-Nisa, and it is almost like toward the end of chapter 4, so it will be just a few verses, a couple pages, and then we'll go to Surah to chapter 5. So let me recite just a few things in Surah An-Nisa, and inshallah we'll make some explanation, and we'll touch on some of the aspects, and inshallah from there we'll go to some question and discussion if there is any. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا وآتوا اليتامى أموالهم ولا تتبدلوا الخبيث بالطيب ولا تأكلوا أموالهم إلى أموالكم إنه كان حوبا كبيرا وإن خفتم ألا تقسطوا في اليتامى فانكحوا ما طاب لكم من النساء مثنى وثلاث ورباع فإن خفتم ألا تعدلوا فواحدة أو ما ملكت أيمانكم ذلك أدنى ألا تعولوا وآتوا النساء صدقاتهن نحلة فإن طبن لكم عن شيء منه نفسا فكلوه هنيئا مريئا ولا تؤتوا السفهاء أموالكم التي جعل الله لكم قياما وارزقوهم فيها واكسوهم وقولوا لهم قولا معروفا وابتلوا اليتامى حتى إذا بلغوا النكاح فإن آنستم منهم رشدا فادفعوا إليهم أموالهم ولا تأكلوها إسرافا وبدارا أن يكبروا ومن كان غنيا فليستعفف ومن كان فقيرا فليأكل بالمعروف فإذا دفعتم إليهم أموالهم فأشهدوا عليهم وكفى بالله حسيبا آمنت بالله صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله الكريم. Dear brothers and sisters, this is the first page, six verses, the first page of Surah An-Nisa. And we'll cover some of the meanings, and then inshallah we'll move on to some other meanings other than the issues of Nisa and marriages and inheritance and orphans and so on. So dear brothers and sisters, here we go. What is the genders we have in this world? What genders we have in this world? Now, I hope everybody will say we have male and female. The case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala named this surah as An-Nisa, the woman, the female. And there is no comparative surah called Ar-Rijal. Ar-Rijal is the male or men, while the surah here is An-Nisa. And you can just predict that it will talk about the affair of women. In fact, the affair of women, which is the second half of humanity, is being talked about throughout the Quran. So we do have uh, surahs in the Quran other than An-Nisa named after women, like Surah Maryam alayhi salam. We have Surah Al-Talaq. We have Surah Al-Mumtahina. And there are other surahs, I'm sure. I did not look at them all. They are after the women or women affair situation. Now, I hope that everybody pay attention when we do the Jumu'ahs, because in every Jumu'ah, almost every khatib, I am for sure, start with this ayah. And this is a sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya ayyuhan nasu, O people, ittaqu rabbakum, الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. So people, fear Allah. الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة, who created you from one single soul, from one single entity, really. That is Adam alayhi salam, or humanity. وخلق منها زوجها, from it Allah created its spouse. خلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. And from there Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have created abundance and many of male and female. And واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you always ask about him regarding the arham, relatives, friends, people who are related to each other. And إن الله كان بكم إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is indeed watching over all your affair. So this ayah, dear brothers, is very important to always reflect on and think about. First, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calling all mankind, all humanity. Ya ayyuhan nasu ittaqu rabbakum. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way it should be. And who is created you from one single soul? And therefore, everyone in this family of humanity is related to everyone else, one way or another. Now, there are, of course, different type of relationship we recognize the surah comes down to tell us about, and maybe we can mention. But after all humanity should realize that we are all brothers and sisters in humanity. As believers, we are brothers and sisters in Islam. And if we are of the same family, we are brothers and sisters of blood and relationship. And why that is very important? It is important for what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have said after that. وَآتُوا الْيَتَامَى أَمْوَالَهُمْ. That in the society, there will be orphanage. No matter what, how careful you are in any society for that matter, you're going to find out down the road, there are people who are orphaned, lost their mom or their dad or both of them, and they need somebody to take care of them. They need somebody to watch over their affair, especially if they are too young. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us that this is a good deed to do. Don't replace that good deeds of taking care of the orphans with negative ones abusing the orphan. وَلَا تَبَدَّلُوا وَلَا تَتَبَدَّلُوا الْخَبِيثَ بِالطَّيِّبِ. When you are saying that I have 5 orphans I am taking care of and helping them, okay, treat them nice, help them out, advise them, counsel them, raise them, educate them, but do not replace that with any forms of abuse you may do toward those little ones. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if those orphans that you are a guardian of and taking care of them, do not take their wealth if they have any. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَهُمْ إِلَى أَمْوَالِكُمْ. Don't take their wealth into your own wealth. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَهُمْ إِلَى أَمْوَالِكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ حُوبًا كَبِيرًا. It is a big mistake, big violation, big haram to eat or to take and to claim the wealth of the orphans. To, let's say, God forbid, if my brother died and he left some money for his brother, his children, but they are too young, they are under my care, and instead of raising their wealth, taking care of them and so forth, I take their money, kick them out, abuse them, etc. all of that, that will be حوبا كبيرا. Big mistake, big violation, big haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us that in this case there is some situation. وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تُقْسِطُوا فِي الْيَتَامَى فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ. Now what is, how it's related, yatama and nisa. Yatama is orphans. Nisa is their mothers, the women of the orphans. If you are in charge of like an orphans and their mom, and you are going back and forth and maybe developing a relationship, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to have that type of relationship to be based on marriage, not on any other relationship. And therefore, Allah permit. Let's keep that in mind. Allah permit. Allah did not encourage, nor it is our religion in general, at least by understanding, that Allah wants us to have multiple spouses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا, then وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تُقْسِطُوا فِي الْيَتَامَى, if you think you are not going to treat them right, or you may have developed some situation where you may do something haram, then فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ مَثْنَى وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permit that you may get married to that woman who have orphan children in order to take care of them properly, that you get married to the mom and you include them into your family, then they will become your children and your family, and you have to take care of them accordingly. And that is permitted for second wife, third wife, or fourth wife. Not necessarily, of course, here, all of them, they should have orphans, or all of them should be like, their husband died on them. No, but they are free and eligible, we can say, to get married. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, however, saying that this is a way to solve this problem. فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا. Now, if you are afraid that if you are going to marry second time, third time, and fourth time, but you are not going to commit justice, or you are not going to carry justice the way it should be between those 2 or 3 or 4 wives. And justice will be extended to all forms of treatment, including timing, financial support, dedication of effort and services and what have you. And of course, being fair with the more than 2 or more than 1, it's sometimes very difficult. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it in that perspective. فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ, if you are afraid, if you are concerned that you are not going to do justice, then فَوَاحِدَةً أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ ذَلِكَ أَدْنَى أَلَّا تَعُولُوا. Then it's one and that's all. So you are not going to get into trouble. And you are not going to have too many children, and maybe your work will not be enough to support. So أَدْنَى أَلَّا تَعُولُوا, then you will have big family or big عائلة. And that is very important to keep in mind and consider. So sometimes your resources and your abilities, financial abilities, which is essential in this case, is not big enough to, let's say, have a expanded family, or more than 1 wife, or more than 2 or 3 children. Then why to get married to more and put yourself under that burden, or to have be responsible for second or third or fourth wife? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَوَاحِدَةً أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ. At that time, and now there is no such status or system of مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ, which is a situation where it goes during the time of war. At that time, they used to divide all the bodies of the war, including the people, so the people can be taken care of. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to make sure that we act and behave properly. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَآتُوا النِّسَاءَ صَدُقَاتِهِنَّ نِحْلَةً. You have to give the woman, before you get married, her due sadaqah. Not sadaqah like charity. Sadaqah or sadaq here, it is the mahr. the dowry that you agreed upon. And this is a matter of agreement between the family, both sides of the family. Nihla is complete, is perfect, is like without shortage. فإن طبن لكم عن شيء منه نفسا فكلوه هنيئا مريئا. Now, sometimes it happened that the women, after they get married and settled and everything, she will say, okay, well, we need some, let's say, expenses, and we have some expenses, or we need certain furniture or something like we need to buy, and here is part of my mahr. I want to return it to you, and you can buy this car, for example, or that TV or something like that. So they can give back to their husband if they choose to. So that is important to make sure that you cannot and you should not take the mahr of the woman after you get married. But if she gave you some to help out in a certain way, it is permissible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us, وَلَا تُؤْتُوا السُّفَهَاءَ أَمْوَالَكُمُ الَّتِي جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ قِيَامًا وَارْزُقُوهُمْ فِيهَا وَاكْسُوهُمْ وَقُولُوا لَهُمْ قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا. Dear brother and sister, this ayah cover a wide range of understanding. First, do not give the money to a person who have no mental capacity, or a non-like business person. We are not talking about giving money to eat or drink or live or basic needs. No, we are talking about forms of investment first, or you don't give it to a person who is not responsible. If there is a person who is not really fully responsible, you can't put him like a treasurer, or you cannot put somebody in charge of the treasury department in any city, situation, or state or country, while he does not know and he is not capable and or have no mental ability or appreciation to the wealth. It is very important to appreciate the wealth, because wealth and, let's say, sustenance and economic situation of the group or the city or the state or the country is an essential part of its well-being and existence. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said the same thing for the orphans. You don't give them when they are too little, young. They are not responsible. They cannot like manage the money. التي جعل الله لكم قياما. قياما, everything goes nowadays and in the past through financial means, any means in this case, whether it is date or wheat or corn or gold or silver or now paper money or any assets or property. All of that is a form of wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ قِيَامًا. Through it, you manage your life. Through these resources and means, you get a situation going for you and your family. وَارْزُقُوهُمْ فِيهَا وَاكْسُوهُمْ وَقُولُوا لَهُمْ قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا. Now, those people who are incapable, whether they are orphans or not, then you should assign what we say a guardian for them to take care of their wealth and develop it for them. But at the same time, you take care of them. You provide for their food, their housing, their dress, and all what they need, and then everything extra you manage it for them. وَقُولُوا لَهُمْ قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا. Be kind, be nice, be helpful, be supportive, but you do not like abuse neither their status or their financial status. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, then when we are going to give the orphan their money back, say as the example I said, if I am managing my brother wealth until his children grown up, when they will be grown up and when they will be like responsible. Nowadays, as you know, brothers and sisters, they will go by the law of the land now here in America. Maybe 18 or 20, 21, whenever the legal age, as we say, the legal age that a person is really responsible. You may say, well, he is 20 or 21, but really is not a responsible person. Okay, well, let him lose his money. Of course not, but you try to advise to the best of your knowledge the situation. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if everything's normal, everything's fine, وابتلوا اليتامى. Test the yatama, or the one that you are guardian of, you are taking care of. Test them. وابتلوا اليتامى حتى إذا بلغوا النكاح, when they reach the age of puberty, the age of maturity, where they can get married and produce children. That's been something around 15 to 18 years old. حتى إذا بلغوا فإن آنستم منهم رشدا, if they reach the age of understanding and appreciating and really knowing the value of wealth and money and so forth, فادفعوا إليه أموالهم, then give them their wealth and let them be in charge and let them manage. Now that could be gradual. The ulama said that if a person doesn't know much about agriculture, you put some manager for him. If he doesn't know anything about like manufacturing in that factory, then you put some managers for them and so on. But you make them in charge gradually. فادفعوا إليه أموالهم ولا تأكلوها إسرافا وبدارا أن يكبروا. Don't eat it and say, you know what, if I give them now their money, I will not have any source of income. Well, this is not the cause for not giving them back their wealth. You have to give them back. And وَمَنْ كَانَ غَنِيًّا فَلْيَسْتَعْفِفْ. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inviting us that if we are in charge of an orphan, we should not take, let's say, compensation for that effort. We should do it for the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if the person is putting an effort and time, say children need to be taken to school, the doctors, this and that, and nobody else but, let's say, yourself or your wife, and they are busy, you cannot work. For that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَلْيَأْكُلْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَإِنْ كَانَ فَقِيرًا فَلْيَأْكُلْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. So you take what is known to be average, let's say, payment or compensation for these services. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَإِذَا دَفَعْتُ أَمْوَالَهُمْ فَأَشْهِدُوا عَلَيْهِمْ وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ حَسِيبًا. Now, when you transfer that wealth and you give them their money, you have to have a documentation, and people have to sign, have to be shahada, which means people have to be testifying or witnesses for this transaction from your wealth into them. So those are some of the aspects, dear brothers and sisters. The ayat continue in the next 2-3 pages to talk about different situations and inheritance, and if you are really let's say died with children, died without children, died with parents alive, parents are not alive, women's and sister, brothers, and so forth. Let me cover one more ayah, inshallah. This is ayah number 23, and it's very, very important in that regard. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. حرمت عليكم أمهاتكم وبناتكم وأخواتكم وعماتكم وخالاتكم وبنات الأخ وبنات الأخت وأمهاتكم اللاتي أرضعنكم وأخواتكم من الرضاعة وأمهات نسائكم وربائبكم اللاتي في حجوركم من نسائكم اللاتي دخلتم بهن فإن لم تكونوا دخلتم بهن فلا جناح عليكم وحلائل أبنائكم الذين من أصلابكم وأن تجمعوا بين الأختين إلا ما قد سلف إن الله كان غفورا رحيما. صدق الله العظيم. This ayah, dear brothers and sisters, is very important, which we call ayatul muharramat. The ayah talked about the muharramat. Muharramat is the female that is prohibited on you to marry them. You cannot marry those categories of ladies throughout your lifetime. There is some details into it, but let me just briefly go over that, inshallah, for a few minutes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, حرمت عليكم. حرمت عليكم, it's become haram on you. أمهاتكم, your mothers. وبناتكم, your daughters. وأخواتكم, your sisters. وعماتكم, your aunt from your father's side. وخالاتكم, وخالاتكم, your aunt from your mother's side. We call it khala. Khala is the sister of your mom. Amma is a sister of your dad. وبنات الأخ, your brother daughters, your niece. وبنات الأخت, your sister daughters. وأمهاتكم اللاتي أرضعنكم, your mothers who breastfed you when you were little. Now this is used to be in the before Islam, and during Islam time it continued if people choose to, or they have to sometimes. Like a baby does not have a mother to breastfeed him, and the next door neighbors, she had a baby and she can breastfeed, she's capable. Or if the mother of the boy, little boy or a girl died, or there is some situation where you have to breastfeed the boy or the girl from another woman, that woman which breastfeed the child become a mother in rada'ah, in breastfeeding. So this mother you cannot marry. She will take the hukum, the ruling of your own mother. وأخواتكم من الرضاعة. Now if this mother which she breastfeed you when you were little, she has daughters, those daughters become like your sisters. You cannot marry them as well. So what we say, أخوات من الرضاعة, sisters from the, because of رضاعة. وأمهات نسائكم, your wife, moms, which is like mother-in-law, it is haram for you. وربائبكم اللاتي في حجوركم من نسائكم, your daughter, your stepdaughters. If you married a woman, she has already children. Those children become your children. The female of them, you cannot marry. You cannot say, oh, wow, my wife that I married, she has a daughter, I married a daughter. No, that's her daughter and that's become like your daughter. اللاتي دخلتم بهن. Now those women which you have already make agreement or contract and you get married to them. Now let's say if you go and you want to ask for a marriage from a woman, and you went there and you find that this woman is mashallah, but she has a daughter and her daughter is better for me than her. You can change your mind. You did not make a contract with that woman yet. لم يدخل بها. They did not get married to that woman. If you get married, that's it. Her daughter will not be allowed for you to marry for the rest of your life. But if you don't get married yet, you can change your mind. فإن لم تكونوا دخلتم بهن فلا جناح عليكم. If you did not really get married to that woman, then you can change your mind, no problem. But now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَحَلَائِلُ أَبْنَائِكُم, your son or, yes, in this case, your son's wife, your daughter-in-law, your son's wife, that's become haram on you. وَالَّذِينَ مِنْ أَصْلَابِكُم. Now your children, we are talking about your children that is yours. Biologically is your children. But if biologically is not your children, say you get married to a woman, she has a son, that son has a wife, that wife get divorced, somehow his daughter, his wife is not really haram for you or for any of your children. That's details, but that's okay. وأن تجمعوا, now the last situation, تجمعوا بين الأختين إلا ما قد سلف, to marry two sisters at the same time, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ma salaf, that's before Islam. Before Islam, they used to do that. They used to get married for two sisters of the same family. Islam said no. However, you can marry to a sister after your wife died. Then if she has a sister, you can marry her. That's okay. Like Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu, he married two of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam daughters, but the one after she died, he married the other one. So that is acceptable. So dear brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us, Inna Allah kana ghafuran rahima. If anything, by any chance, for any reason, happened by mistakes, then Allah forgive, Allah ghafurur rahim. Most of the time, I want to tell you that the mistakes happened in the case of rada'ah, that if somebody breastfed by some woman and the old folks died and the generation is gone, and then something happened down the road and the people want to get married, and he get to know this lady and just happened to be his sister in rada'ah, then that sometimes it's a problem. Other than that, should be clear cut, inshallah. Those are very important aspects, dear brothers. This ayah called Ayatul Muharramat, the ayah of detailing the women that we should not marry to. And you see, this is out of rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You may say, why? Well, you see the reason why. Your mom, of course, your daughters, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your aunt from both sides, and your brother daughter, your sister daughter, and all the details here. Those are family members. Those are people of a very close blood relation, and that's where we have to keep it the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our iman and make us of those who listen and follow and obey. Dear brothers, we should probably stop here and ask if there is any questions in that regard. And inshallah, I will move to some other ayat if you don't have any concern or question at this time. That will give me a little break just to breathe. Any brothers have any comment, any questions of what we have said? Surah An-Nisa, dear brothers and sisters, is full of what we call ahkam. Ahkam is ruling. So if you have any ideas or any concern or questions you want to know, please mention it. That's fine.
Yeah, I have, Sadulullah, I have one question.
Yes, brother.
So in ayat 3 about marrying the orphan or orphan's mother, as you explained. So this is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that to marry second, third, or fourth time. Is there anywhere else in Quran this marrying more than one mentioned? Because this is really connected with orphans. Orphans.
Okay. I don't know anywhere else in the Quran where it's mentioned to or encouraging or even permitting men to marry more than one woman. But it says it comes in a plural sense, like nisa or your wives. Like in Surah Al-Ahzab, Ya ayyuha Rasul, qul li azwajika, say to your wives. That's of course Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and could be azwaj al-mu'minin and zawjat al-mu'minat, something like that. But nothing really in the Quran that I know of, other than this place where you said فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ. And I mention it the way it's been mentioned in the tafsir, because it comes in that context, in the context of being, let's say, married to a woman or a widow that her husband died and she has children. And in that case, she needs somebody to take care of her and her children, whether it is like, as we say, financially or emotionally or like, socially. Sometimes it's very, very bad social like notation that a woman is a widow in the society of mostly manly society. So other than that, then the ulama said that, okay, this comes in that context, but it's really meant general. It's meant even without this reasoning, still the ayah valid if somebody wants to get married. However, the condition also valid, that if فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا. This is the condition. If you are afraid that you are not going to have like to perform justice or to be just with all of them, then فَوَاحِدَةً أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ. Then only one, and that's enough for you.
I think, I don't remember that, but there's another place Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning about treating them equally, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, and you will never be able to treat them equally, and therefore one is better, something like that. I don't remember where it is. is in Nisa or some other place.
Yes, yes. I think there is another ayah. فَلَنْ تَعْدِلُوا وَلَنْ تَعْدِلُوا. Yeah, you are not going to have. But here the explanation. They said that you are not going to perform justice in terms of emotion. Now, Rasulullah said that I love Aisha more than any other of the wives. And that is not up to me. It is something in the heart and you cannot control it. But the justice required here is really in housing, in feeding, in like time sharing, but not in terms of love or like being driven by more towards certain person than the other. That's, he said, this is in the hands of Allah, and may Allah forgive me. And that is the adl that said you will not be able to perform adl. Now, if somebody, let's say, agreed and everybody said, I have 3 wives, I really don't, I have 1 wife. But if the person have 3 wives and he said, okay, here's the expenses, here's the timing, 2 days here, 2 days here, 2 days here, 1 day is off and 1 day off, and here is your expenses and so on, then that is adl, let's say, performing, adl. But what about the feeling, the emotion? That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you cannot have full justice in there. Yeah. Definitely, I do not advocate multiple wives, even though, as we said, it's permitted, it is allowed. Now, it is allowed because of some reason or another, or for no reason other than getting married. And if anybody looking for like fast track to out of this life, then multiply your spouses. Yeah.
Yeah, in the context is here with the yatim and widows. That's important because, as you mentioned, in the society there was abuse of these women, right. And it was so bad that the Hindu system used to burn them alive with the body of the husband. And they didn't want anybody leaving after the husband left. So it was really necessary, and it's interesting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this in the area of the orphans and take care of the society, not just anybody with money. I have multiple opportunities. That okay, thank you.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair. That's right. So many cultures they have different practices, and in some Arabic culture, actually, to the best of my knowledge, that if, let's say, God forbid, if my brother died and his wife in a marriageable age and he have children, his family, my family, not me, my family, they will not let her marry. They will say, oh, we don't want our children to be raised by XYZ man. She has to stay and take care of her children, and we will pay for their expenses. We take care of their expenses. But as we know, life is not only expenses. She is her own entity, and she has needs, and the children need somebody as a clothes, and so on. So Islam have the solution, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, and which should not be totally strange. However, unfortunately, nowadays it become really difficult, very difficult. God forbid, as I said, if I want to get married to my brother's wife after he passed away, do you know what will happen in my household? My children will abandon me, my wife will divorce me, the whole society will say, oh, look, he married his brother's wife. Well, who's going to take care of the children and her? Why not? We have messed up. We reach as Muslims, unfortunately, without proper teaching and proper culture really developed later on. And then become like women, as we know in so many societies, more women, unwedding women, women without husband, more than men, and more than what the society can tolerate. They said that in the time of Rasulullah, Medina, there was no widow. A widow, after she is out of the iddah, they will find somebody to marry her. They will go out of their way to marry her and to take care of her. And the society will tolerate, the women will tolerate, and everything will be okay. Unfortunately, believe it or not, here in our Riverside Masjid, I have like 2-3 sisters. They came in, they said, we are looking for a husband. Well, here it's a different story, of course. We have to look for the culture, the age, the situation, the legal status. There's so many other concerns. But in the society, every woman should have a man and somebody to take care of and to depend on and so on. Now, I sound maybe sexist, pro men, but really it is after all for women. Women, no matter what, in every society, still a woman, a weak wing of the society, and needs support one way or another. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for everyone. Any other comment or question, brothers?
I have one,
Yes.
and that is on the inheritance. If you are an orphan and there is nobody at all that you know of to inherit you, then what do you do with your anything you have left?
If a person does not have heirings or inheritant people to inherit him, he or she should assign it for a charitable causes, for any charitable accepting something that will be good for the society, whether it's religious or let's say hospital or elderly house or something of benefits to the society, and that will be sadaqah jariyah. In the purely Islamic society, the government take part of that and they take care of it, and the other part, up to the third, maybe they will spend on the charity. But if the person want to really make use of all his charity, all his inheritance for the charity, then they do what now it's been called a living trust. A living trust that you can have a trust, and at the end of your life, you say, this trust goes to so and so. Either you can name friends, you can name neighbors or relatives. If there is no relatives that they can take by law or by the Sharia, as we said, you can give it to charity organization. Inshallah. Any other comment or question, brothers, sisters? Let me then tell you briefly again about one of the most important, besides all the Quran important, of course, but one of the most should be known, let's say, ayah to everyone in the Quran. And inshallah, we all know it, but let me say it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in verse number 48, don't forget that. This is very essential. Like Ayatul Kursi in Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayatul Mulk, Allahumma malik al-mulk tu'ti al-mulk man tasha, Surah Ali Imran. In Surah An-Nisa, remember this beside the multiple wives and the multiple marriages. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ وَمَن يُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ فَقَدِ افْتَرَى إِثْمًا عَظِيمًا. You probably heard this before, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive a mushrik, and everything else subject to Allah maghfirah. وَيَغْفِرُ مَا دُونَ ذَلِكَ لِمَن يَشَاءُ. Allah will forgive whoever He wants for anything they have done. So you may say, what about this person who killed so and so? You know the story that somebody killed 99 and then he killed another one, make them 100, yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end forgive him. Or let's say somebody who killed somebody before Islam and then he became a Muslim and then he died. Like Sayyidina Khalid radiallahu anhu, Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu. Or Addas, not Addas, sorry, the one who killed Sayyidina Hamza radiallahu anhu. He killed Sayyidina Hamza and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to revenge from him, but he held back, and then that, I skipped my mind his name, he became a Muslim later on. And he came and he took the pledge from Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he testified La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, because I don't want you to bring the memory of my uncle Hamza, don't show me your face again, just go. So he became Muslim, Allah forgive him. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying here, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَغْفِرُ أَن يُشْرَكَ بِهِ. Allah will not forgive a mushrik. So shirk is very, very important aspect, dear brothers and sisters, and we should be very, very careful with that.
Yeah.
Not to, allow any sense of shirk, aware or not aware. So if you are aware, you say, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika an ushrika bika shay'an a'lamu. Ya Allah, I seek refuge in you to commit any shirk that I know of. Wa astaghfiruka lima la a'lamu. Ya Allah, I ask you to forgive me for the shirk, if there is shirk that I have done or something that I have done while I don't know about it, unintentionally. So be careful with that. إن الله لا يغفر أن يشرك به ويغفر ما دون ذلك لمن يشاء ومن يشرك بالله فقد افترى إثما عظيما. Whoever commits shirk in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is committing great violation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive. So dear brothers, this is very important ayah in the surah of Surah Al-Nisa. And of course, all the Quran is important, and all the surah is very, very important, full of different meanings. And I would like to hear if you have any question. If not, I will tell you about another ayah, inshallah. Let me tell you briefly another ayah before we open it up and we conclude. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying in ayat 85, verse number 85 of Surah Al-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم من يشفع شفاعة حسنة يكن له نصيب منها ومن يشفع شفاعة سيئة يكن له كفل منها وكان الله على كل شيء مقيتا. Whoever interfere and participate or help out in something good, shafa'a hasana, like we say, bid'ah hasana. There is no bid'ah hasana, bid'ah sayyi'ah. There is some discussion on that. But this is shafa'a hasana, mean that you interfere in issue that will help others, will make things easy for XYZ. You want to, you donated, you told somebody to donate, you told somebody to come to the masjid, you told somebody to participate with us in this broadcast, or you helped somebody somehow. Shay hasan, something good. من يشفع شفاعة حسنة يكن له نصيب منها. You will get your share. Your share here, sometimes if you, let's say, if you are a salesperson, you sell something, you will get like 2%, 15%, whatever value. How much you will get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said you have nasib. Nasib is big deal. You have a share, big share. With Allah, you don't know how much. It could be multiple. Like Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam يقول من فطر صائما فله مثل أجره لا يقص ذلك من أجره شيء. That whoever offer iftar for a sa'im, you will get the same reward as if you are fasting. So imagine if you help 10 people to break the fasting. As if today you are 10 people fasting for the love of Allah. You help 100 people, then you will get the reward for 100 people, even though you are one. And if you do more, of course, you will get more. And that is nasibu minha. On the contrary, on the opposite, if you help something to go wrong, bad, you give false testimony, you interfere in somebody's really doesn't deserve it, or you help participate, or let's say misguide somebody or cheat somebody, you will have your share of punishment. Don't say I have nothing to do with it. Don't say that, oh well, I don't know. Not knowing is not a permission or a permit to do something wrong. So dear brother, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala maqita, Allah will look after your affair and will help you, inshallah, if you do the right things. And on the other hand, if you do the wrong things, Allah will punish you.
Ramadan Kareem.
Inshallah. Okay, with that, we are getting closer to our time, inshallah. Anybody have any question or comments on what we have said so far?
So good.
Yes, brothers. Alhamdulillah, we are going, inshallah, just through, as we say, the theme and some topic of the chapter. Let's say chapter 5 today, inshallah. And I will be, inshallah, looking at chapter 6, which is from almost 148, verse 148 of Surah An-Nisa until the Surah Al-Ma'idah, until like the end of the chapter 6, inshallah, tomorrow. And with that, alhamdulillah, we are coming to conclude this, unless you have question or you have any comments, you have any suggestions, anything that you come to your mind.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, brother Imran. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. I have a question, like like you mentioned, like the mushrik, the shirk is not forgive by the God, no? Allah.
Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive a mushrik, unless, of course, you may say he repented.
Oh, yeah.
He performed tawbah.
So it is related to this one, like yeah, like some people said, like we can marry a girl with those who believe the books like Injil and other books.
That's
like,
different, marrying
no,
somebody.
But again, the question comes here, but they said like son of the God also. So that comes into the shirk. So how it is related to this?
Those are two different subjects. We are talking about person aqidah. I believe that, let's say, God forbid, I believe that this tree is holy tree. If I go and touch it, it will do something good or bad or healing or something. Or I believe that if I go and slaughter let's say, sheep or a goat at this grave, then my wife will get pregnant, or rizq will start coming to me, or any form of shirk, including Jesus is like God, Son of God, one of three, or any other like belief system. That is shirk for the person himself. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said regarding the marriage, is totally another like situation. If the woman happened to be of Ahlul Kitab, Jews or Christian, and she is not changing her faith, she wants to keep her faith, a Muslim is allowed. Please, yeah. All right. Those people are making noise here. Yeah, thank you. Then those people who are believing in Christianity or Judaism, we are talking about those two particular people, the people of the book. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it is permitted, it is allowed to get married to their women only. And of course, later on, you never know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened the hearts. But it is permitted and it's allowed. We are not encouraging, nor I am not a fan of that. But again, we cannot make what's halal haram and what's haram halal. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it's halal, then it's halal. You choose not to, that's good, alhamdulillah, don't do it. But we cannot go and say, if somebody married to Nancy, who is like born Christian, and they are living happy ever after and have children, tell them, no, you are committing shirk. That's not the case. No.
Okay.
Inshallah.
I have a comment also.
Yes, brother.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
This is also, in addition to what you said, Sheikh, this is also the shirk here is said, or the shirk is, let's say, said to those people who has nothing to do with getting married or not. For example, if I get married to a mushrik, this is the mushrik one. I mean, the one who believes in Christianity or Judaism, as you said, this is his business, okay, and this is his faith, let's say. So I go to, for example, the paradise. Maybe I go myself. I don't go with my wife sometimes. So this is another issue, as you said. Sheikh.
Yeah,
Getting
yeah,
married
this is
to a
different.
mushrik is totally different from going to the paradise or not. Sometimes even you don't go to the paradise, Allah Azza wa Jal will not give you the maghfirah even if you get married to a Muslim, for example. This is another issue. Getting married is totally different than doing something to go to the paradise.
Jazakallah. Paradise is a third party, a third subject. That we are not talking about that now.
But my English is terrible, so I'm sorry. My English is not good.
No problem. No, Jazakallah khair. We are talking about a belief system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permit that you can get married if you want to. Allah permitted. So it will not be too hard for the people to think about. Shirk, whether you are married or not married, we are talking about whether it's Muslim or not Muslim. Sometimes you have many people who will say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, but they commit shirk in different ways, and that's where Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam make that dua for us. Make it all of us, inshallah. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika an ushrika bika shay'an a'lamu wa astaghfiruka lima la a'lamu. Ya Allah, I ask you protection from committing any shirk that I know of, and I ask you forgiveness for the one that I might do unaware. Jazakumullah khair. I think that's a great discussion. Anybody else have any comment, question, concern before we? I don't want to take too much time of yours. Yes. We will continue, inshallah, as we said, chapter 6, inshallah, and I will select topics that is related, and I think it's important, inshallah, for all of us to be a little more educated about it and share it together. Please invite your friends, tell everybody, and inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our prayers, our Quran, and our fasting, and inshallah, we'll see you again tomorrow.